Hello, my dear faith warriors. Whether you're firm in your faith, on the cusp of believing, or seeking guidance in your walk with God, whether you've walked with Him for a time and have faltered, or are yet to open the Bible's pages but feel a desire to learn, this is a platform for all of you. Welcome back to our journey through the Bible. Before we dive in, let's quickly remember what happened last time. After Noah's family spread out, the world was filled with many nations. People tried to build the Tower of Babel to reach the heavens, a monument to their own strength. But God, in His wisdom, confused their language and scattered them across the earth. From this scattering, a new chapter begins. God is about to call a man who will become the father of faith and nations. And this story, let me tell you, is full of adventure, promises, and some truly jaw-dropping surprises. Let's see how the Bible itself tells it. Our story begins with a man named Abram, living in a place called Ur of the Chaldees. He's in a good place. He has family. He has a home. Then, one day, God speaks to him. The Bible tells us, in Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 to 3, the Lord had said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household, to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." Wow, can you imagine getting a call like that? God's promise is huge. It's cosmic in scale. He essentially says, leave everything you know, everything that gives you security, and follow me into the unknown. Trust me, and I will make your name legendary and bless the entire world through you. This isn't a small request. It's a call to total, radical trust. Imagine packing up your life, not knowing your final destination, all based on a promise. It's an incredible demonstration of faith in action. So what does Abram do? Does he hesitate? Does he argue? Let's look at Genesis 12, verse 4. So Abram went, as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he set out from Haran. 75. In our modern world, that's well past retirement age. It's a time for slowing down, for enjoying the fruits of your labor. But for Abram, it was the start of the greatest adventure of his life. He wasn't too old for God to use him. He packed up his wife, Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all their possessions, and started the long journey to a land he had never seen, the land of Canaan. This journey wasn't just a physical move. It was a profound act of obedience and trust in God's unseen plan. But the path of faith is rarely a straight, easy road. Genesis 12 verse 10 tells us that soon after they arrived in the promised land, there was a famine in the land. Famine, the very land God promised him, couldn't sustain him. So, Abram had to make a detour and go down to Egypt. Now, in Egypt, Abram faces a major test. He's afraid that the Egyptians will kill him to take his beautiful wife Sarai. So, he comes up with a plan. He tells Sarai to say she is his sister. It's a half-truth, but is driven by fear, not faith. And just as he feared, Pharaoh takes Sarai into his palace. Things look dire. Abram's clever plan has backfired spectacularly. But here's the amazing part. Even when Abram's faith faltered, God's faithfulness did not. Genesis 12 tells us that the Lord inflicted serious diseases on Pharaoh and his household because of Sarai. God intervened directly to protect his promise and his people. Pharaoh, realizing what happened, confronts Abram and sends him, Sarai, and all their possessions away safely. This episode shows us a crucial truth. God's protection is always there. Even when we make mistakes or find ourselves in tricky situations of our own making, His grace covers our failures. After leaving Egypt, Abram and his nephew Lot have become incredibly wealthy. Their flocks and herds are so large that the land can no longer support them both living together. Quarrels break out between their herdsmen. Abram, showing wisdom and a desire for peace, tells Lot in Genesis 13, "Let's not have any quarreling between you and me, ... Let's part company. If you go to the left, I'll go to the right. If you go to the right, I'll go to the left." Lot looks up and sees the whole plain of the Jordan, lush and well-watered, like the garden of the Lord. It looked like the best choice, the most prosperous land. So he chose it for himself and set out toward the east, settling near the city of Sodom. Abram was left with the land of Canaan. Lot chose by sight, picking what looked best to the human eye. Abram, on the other hand, trusted God with his portion. And after Lot left, God reaffirmed his promise to Abram, telling him to look in every direction and promising all the land he could see to him and his offspring forever. Sometimes, making wise choices means letting go and trusting God with the outcome. Years pass. Abram is getting older, and Sarai is still unable to have children. The promise of becoming a great nation, of having countless descendants, must have seemed more and more distant. Doubt begins to creep in. In Genesis chapter 15, Abram voices his concern to God. "Sovereign Lord, what can you give me since I remain childless? You have given me no children, so a servant in my household will be my heir." God's response is powerful and direct. He takes Abram outside and says, "Look up at the sky and count the stars. Indeed, you can count them. So shall your offspring be." It's an impossible image, a promise beyond human comprehension. And what is Abram's response? Genesis 15, verse 6, gives us one of the most important verses in the entire Bible. Abram believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteousness. This is the heart of the matter. It wasn't Abram's good deeds or perfect obedience that made him right with God. It was his faith. It was his choice to believe God's promise, even when it seemed completely impossible. Faith is believing what God has said, even when our circumstances scream the opposite. It's a trust that goes beyond what we can see or understand. This covenant of faith is so significant that God formalizes it in a profound way. In Genesis chapter 17, when Abram is 99 years old, God appears to him again, and this time he gives Abram a new name. Genesis 17, verses 4 and 5 say, "As for me, this is my covenant with you. You will be the father of many nations. No longer will you be called Abram. Your name will be Abraham, for I have made you a father of many nations." His name is changed from Abram, which means exalted father, to Abraham, meaning father of many nations. Sarai's name is also changed to Sarah, meaning princess. This name change wasn't just a small detail. It was a declaration of a new identity. Every time someone said Abraham's name, they were declaring God's promise over him, even before he had the promised son. God establishes a covenant of special, unbreakable, forever promise with him and his descendants. Imagine God giving you a personal promise that lasts forever. It's absolutely amazing. So here we are. God has called Abraham to step out in faith, promising a future full of hope and blessing. It's a journey that started with a single step of obedience from a 75-year-old man who dared to trust God's word. Can you imagine leaving everything behind and trusting God that completely? This is just the beginning. Abraham's journey will test his faith in ways he can't yet imagine. It will challenge him with hard choices and reveal the breathtaking scope of God's amazing plan. And coming up next, things get even more miraculous. God will visit Abraham and Sarah and make a promise that seems so impossible, it makes Sarah laugh out loud. We'll see the story of a miracle baby and a test of trust, faith, and obedience that changes the course of history forever. Thank you for joining me today, Faith Warriors. The adventure is just getting started, and I can't wait to continue it with you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next episode. Until then, walk in faith.